I want to talk about the one thing that if you mastered it, it would completely change your life. And that's creating and breaking habits. Now, the brain loves to save as much energy as possible. And so it loves to work on automation. Now, so that we can conserve energy and get through as much as possible in our daily routine, our brain creates a feedback loop that helps our brain run the same neural pathways day in, day out. Now, if those neural pathways are ones that don't necessarily help you reach your goals, then they need to be broken. And so I'm going to give you some mindset hacks on how you can change those habits. So it's good to know that every habit moves through 3 steps in a cycle. So first of all, there's a trigger. This is the cue that makes you start the routine. Second of all, there is an action. This is the habit that is executed on, whether it be good or bad. And then finally, there's the reward that we give ourselves. This is the part that we actually crave. So let's talk about the first part of the habit, the trigger. Generally, people don't spend a lot of time identifying what actually cues them to start that habit. Now, this is the most important thing to identify because it's actually what's driving the behavior. Now, this can be various things. It could be the location that you're standing in. Some people are triggered by standing in the same spot in their kitchen. It can be sitting on the same spot on their couch after dinner. It can be standing in the shopping center and walking past a certain store. Another way in which women can be triggered can be certain times of the day. It can be every time at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you always have a biscuit with your tea. Or every afternoon at 4 o'clock when you get home with the kids, you end up snacking on the chips and the chocolate or whatever is the muesli bars simply because it's there and it's that time of day. It can be always eating exactly after dinner at 8 p.m. when you sit down and the kids are finally in bed because it's when you identify having time to yourself. The next thing is that a habit can be triggered by someone's emotional state. So it can be when you're feeling stressed or when you're feeling overwhelmed or when you're feeling under the pump. And so there's certain food choices that you'll go to as a way of comforting yourself. It can also be triggered by other people. So it might be your ex-husband, or it could be a friend that makes you feel negative about yourself, or it may be triggered by preceding action. Some people do it because they're procrastinating and they're avoiding something that they know that they need to do. So once you've identified what the trigger is, you can understand what the preceding habit is that follows that. So rather than saying, I'm just not going to complete that habit at all, instead of no more afternoon snacking, no more biscuit with my tea, no more, having sweet treats after dinner, you have to replace it with something. You're far more likely to be able to stick with it if the trigger remains the same, but the replacement habit is swapped. Rather than trying to cut the entire thing out, then you're just changing a portion of it. So you might choose to have snack boxes prepared at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when you come home with the kids. Or you might put healthier alternatives in the pantry where the muesli bars generally sit. You might make up some sweet treats that you can have after dinner instead of having that bowl of ice cream. Now, the final step in the habit cycle is rewarding yourself. Actually mentally congratulating yourself for the changes that you're making, rather than feeling like it's inadequate and you should be doing more, giving yourself credit for the fact that you've made that one choice and it's been better than what you previously used to do. This helps to associate positive emotions with the habit that you're replacing it with. And so, of course, you're more likely to do it in the future.